Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Coaster News. And as always, we've got some amazing news from different theme parks, rides, attractions and events all over the world. So let's get straight into the news today. Our top story for tonight, Thorpe Park officially confirms that Ghost Train will open on the 26th of May 2023. And we've been waiting for this news for many months now, ever since this attraction was first announced before the season started. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically, Ghost Train is a brand new, well, not brand new, but it's a reimagined version of the previous Darren Brown's Ghost Train, which was a virtual reality attraction. It was an indoor virtual reality attraction with like a live action. It was a mix of both live action and VR. And it was obviously a huge investment for Thorpe Park, as it cost them £30 million. It's probably one of their largest investments today, actually. And obviously, they partnered up with Darren Brown to create this attraction. It opened back in 2016, and obviously since it was reopened, since it's been open all these years, up until last season, which was its final season, it's been receiving quite mainly negative reviews, some quite mixed reviews actually. Some people really like it, some people don't like it, think it's quite really cheap, considering it's like a virtual reality attraction. Obviously, the people who do like it saying that when it worked, all the effects were functioning right, it was like brilliant. Obviously, over the years, it received not very good reception. Even Darren Brown himself apparently it stopped wanting to be associated with the actual attraction itself. So obviously, last season, during the close season, Thorpe Park made a decision to basically completely reimagined Darren Brown's Ghost Train as a whole, remove Darren Brown's name from the attraction, give it a new theme, well, slightly new theme. It's still themed around like haunted train stations and things like that. And obviously the big thing that they're doing is removing the virtual reality goggles, and that's going to be absolutely amazing. Basically by doing this, they're going to add all kinds of new special effects. I'm going to have live actors in there as well throughout the entire attraction. They're just renaming it to simply Ghost Train, and obviously. We thought all four were going to open for opening day on the 24th of March when the season started at Thorpe Park. Obviously it didn't. The months have ticked by and so far it's not open. But earlier this week, Thorpe Park themselves actually confirms that Ghost Train will officially open on the 26th of May. So that's like a few weeks' time. I think it's like 2 weeks from now. And it's going to be absolutely brilliant. I really like to see how they managed to bring this sort of attraction to life without virtual reality goggles. I mean, obviously, the actual virtual reality aspect of the original Darren Brown's Ghost Train was pretty good, because obviously all the stuff that happened in that. So I'd really like to see how they bring that to real life with Ghost Train. In other news today, Park Warner Madrid have announced that Batman Gotham City Escape will open on the 13th of May 2023. And this actual ride is literally, ever since it started being built last year, it's going to be one of the most anticipated roller coasters to open this season. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically, Batman Gotham City Escape is a brand new Intamin Blitz coaster being built at Park Warner Madrid in Spain. It's got a very, by the looks of it, it's got a very thrilling and intense layout, and such a weird layout as well. It looks very much inspired by Velocicoaster at Universal's Islands of Adventure in Orlando, and even people are saying it's basically Europe's version of Velocicoaster. And I'm not surprised why this ride looks mental. Honestly, some of the pictures of the elements I've seen online, it looks insane. And obviously, they announced this attraction was being built last year for I think it was the 25th anniversary of Park Warner Madrid. But literally just started building it when literally no one really was talking about it back then. It's only until it started really being fully built and people started actually noticing it that sort of like a lot of attention has been drawn to it over the past few months. And obviously it's been fully built. It's got a lot of theming in it as well, and it just looks fantastic, the ride itself. Obviously they recently announced it's going to open on the 13th of May, and I'm pretty sure they're doing testing of it as well. I think they're actually having human riders on it at the moment for a preview opening or something like that. Because I've seen pictures online of people actually riding it, and I must say this attraction looks amazing. It looks like probably one of Intamin's best coasters. There's a lot of debate saying this could be the title compete with two Tatis, which recently opened at Parc Asterix in France. People saying, "Oh, could be Europe's best roller coaster." Because over the past few months, we've gotten some coasters that have been in Europe that have been absolutely phenomenal. And a lot of people saying, "Could this be Europe's best roller coaster?" Obviously, with two Tatis, which is another Intamin Blitz coaster at Parc Asterix, which opened last month, and then Batman Gotham City Escape at Park 1 Madrid in Spain, which is opening within the next few weeks. It looks phenomenal. I do genuinely think it's going to start like another coaster war type thing. In fact, it might have already started. Because obviously you don't know what the coaster wars were. It was basically back in a time period for a few decades, from the 1980s all the way until the mid-2000s, where theme parks all over the world just like competing to have the world's tallest, fastest, longest, steepest roller coasters ever. It started with Magnum XL 200s at Cedar Point in 1989 and ended with Kingda Ka in 2005, which is currently the world's tallest roller coaster. So could this start in Europe with Batman Gotham City Escape? Who knows? Also in the news today, the world's first Vekoma Super Boomerang has been built in China. And I honestly did not think that they'd actually be officially building these in a theme park for quite some time. But if you don't know what a Super Boomerang is, it's a brand new ride type from Vekoma that was introduced last year, I think. It's on a new take on their recent family boomerang layout, but obviously it's going back more to the roots of like the original Vekoma boomerangs and having a much more extreme layout with launches and inversions. And I must say, this layout looks stunning, considering this is going to be the type of layout that they had with like the original Vekoma boomerang and the current family boomerang, which can just be reproduced at all of loads of parks everywhere. And obviously this looks fantastic. The ride layout itself is compact and yet it looks honestly thrilling. But obviously because this new prototype was introduced last season, I just didn't think they'd be building one of these for a while, but obviously they've recently completed vertical construction on a brand new one that's opening at Fantawild in China. I'm not sure when it's going to be open. I think it's supposed to open later this year or sometime in the near future. But I must say, it's quite weird how some new ride types, it's quite weird how they're built. Basically, when a new roller coaster type is introduced, it either gets built quite quickly, or it just sometimes doesn't get built at all. Like, we got introduced to the SNS Axis Coaster, 2019? It's 2023 now, and yet not a single Axis coaster has been built yet. There was a rumour last year that they agreed to build one in Europe for this season, but that obviously hasn't happened anywhere. But with things like the Vekoma Super Boomerang, that's just gone straight up instantly. Like, I think it was announced 6 months ago, something like that, and they've already built one in China. So obviously that's brilliant. And obviously this ride looks to be very successful because it's a very thrilling layout, but it's also compact and probably not that expensive. I mean, it might be more expensive than the family boomerang, because obviously the larger layout. But it looks to be one of those rides that you can just literally build anywhere for any theme park, or most theme parks anyway. And I love how they're doing that. Obviously, it's more producible than a roller coaster with a custom layout, and it looks absolutely fantastic. And I can't wait to see what new ride concepts Vekoma comes up with in the near future. Vekoma are really stepping things up in terms of their ride lineup over the past few years. They've gone from building really bad roller coasters like SLCs and boomerangs to things like that, to now building some of the best coasters in the world. And it looks honestly stunning, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds for Vekoma and its roller coaster lineup within the next few years. And finally, in the news today, the colour scheme for Project Exodus has just been leaked. Now, obviously, this is quite some unusual and unexpected news for roller coasters in the UK. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically, Project Exodus is a brand new roller coaster being built at Thorpe Park. It's scheduled to open in 2024, and upon opening, it will be the UK's tallest and potentially fastest roller coaster. And it's going to reach a maximum height of 236 feet. That will make it, I think, 23 feet taller than the big one at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, which is the current tallest coaster in the UK, at 213 feet. Even though Blackpool Pleasure Beach themselves advertise the height of that attraction to be 235 feet, it technically is that height, but only from sea level. In actual fact, the ride itself is only 213 feet. But Project Exodus is going to be 236 feet in real height, And I think from sea level it's going to be like, I think something like 287 feet, which is massive. That's almost a giga coaster if they measure it from sea level, obviously. Obviously, last year, at the end of last season, they got granted planning permission. And since then, they've been basically just clearing out the entirety of Old Town. It's now just like a massive, it's completely unrecognisable. It's much more open space than before. Honestly, a lot more open than I thought it'd be. Gotten rid of Creek Freak Massacre. Loggers Leap, that's probably completely gone by now, to be honest. I don't know. They've gotten rid of all the little rides in there. Not Loggers Leap. Rocky Express has been completely retired. Lumber Jump has been relocated to another area of the park under the name of High Striker last season. And Timber Tugboat got relocated to Chessington. So all the attractions in that area are completely gone, and all the buildings and all things like that. It's just flat land now, or mostly flat anyway. And obviously recently it started early work obviously on the concrete footers. And over the last few months the ground pins for the footers have been just sat in an unknown location near the park, near the island. But the other day, in fact literally earlier today I think, or yesterday, the colour scheme for the attraction I think got leaked online in the documents. Now the actual colour scheme that's been stated is going to have, it's a bit like Stealth's colour scheme, where it goes from a certain colour scheme like at the lower half of the ride and then just raises up to white. Obviously the top half of Exodus is going to be white, obviously to blend in with the sky, but the bottom half of it is going to be painted all gold, which is going to honestly look really stunning. Obviously we were all originally led to believe that it's going to have pretty much the same colour scheme as Stealth originally, to blend in with like the skyline of it. Because obviously I'm pretty sure that's like a rule at Thorpe Park. You have to have it built. If you build a ride at that height, you have to have it painted that colour scheme. I'm not sure, it's to do with like Heathrow Airport is nearby. But the colour scheme for Project Exodus, it honestly looks like it's going to be stunning. If these leaks are true, I'm pretty sure they are. I cannot wait to see if it has gold track and white track. That's going to look so beautiful. Then again, it does make me wonder what is the theme of this ride going to be, because we've not seen any theming in the plan documents. But I don't think it's going to leave it just unthemed. I don't think they're really going to do that. But then again, it's a massive roller coaster. Most of us will probably go to the actual ride itself. But either way, Project Exodus is going to be a fantastic ride, and I cannot wait for it to open. So that is it for this week's episode of Coaster News. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, then please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment what you'd like to see in the next video. Bye!